Good morning and welcome back to my channel. My voice sounds so raspy. I wanted to make this video because I was thinking about, for the most part, I try to bring content and make videos of things that I am interested in. Questions that I may have had, struggles that I have with makeup. I'm sorry, my lips look so chapped this morning. My voice is actually hoarse from an event that I went to on last night. So I'm sorry about that. But again, I wanted to share this video. I have a clean face. I only used my Neutrogena to clean my face this morning. I did have on makeup yesterday, not a full face, just my eyes. So my face is clean. And I'm going to use this as my canvas today just to demonstrate some things to you. So the first thing, I know that when I first got into makeup, I wanted to try out foundations. Like, I was fascinated with it, but I didn't know where to start. What was my undertone? If I was a cool, if I was a warm, if I was a neutral. It was just really confusing to me. So from me, Googling, that's our first and easiest and least expensive way to research. So I Googled to find out what was my skin tone. So I saw a couple of different things. One of the passages that I read, or one of the articles that I read, was pertaining to how does jewelry wear on you? How do you think you look better in gold jewelry, silver jewelry, or both? So because I gravitate to jewelry, that's what I purchase, silver jewelry all the time. So I'm like, okay, silver. But in actuality, I also use and like the way that gold jewelry looks on me. So I went to the next option, which was looking at the color of your veins. And I'm not sure if it's going to show on camera, but you can see that my veins are green through my skin. And that signifies that you are a warm toned person, or golden. And I've been kind of trying different things, even though I know that that's supposed to be like the tone or the undertone that I am. I also purchase neutral undertones. I try cool undertones, just trying to see what I like better on me. But the true fact is that I like the way that golden or warm tones look on me. So I'm just going to swatch some things today. We can do some foundations. We're going to do some concealers. We can even do some complexion products just to see like how it looks on you. And that's why I like to go into Sephora and Ulta. I really don't like purchasing online. I like to be able to try the things on me to make sure that I like them. So the main rule of thumb is when you're applying foundation is that you want to match your chest and your neck, because sometimes your face is not the same color because your face is what's mostly exposed to the sun. And you'll also find articles that tell you don't match to your hand, because again, your arm and your hands are also open or most affected by the sun as well. So you want to kind of match these areas. But again, it is also a personal preference of what you like and what you're comfortable with. I'm going to start with a couple of my favorites, and if you are not new to my channel, you already know what those are. So I'm going to pull those out, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So basically what I have pulled this morning are my actual foundations that I use on my skin tone and my skin type. So we have some Maybelline Fit Me, both matte and dewy. We have a Maybelline Superstay. We have some NYX, some Sephora Best Skin Ever. We have some Nars, some Too Faced, Born This Way Too Faced foundation. We have some foundation sticks from Juvia's Place and Nico K. We have some tinted moisturizers from ColourPop. We have some Fenty, some Profusion, some NYX, LA Girl. We have some powder foundations from Maybelline. I have a cream to powder from Milani. This one I haven't used, but we can swatch it. What else do we have? Black Opal. We have some Uma, LYS, Catrice, RK by Kiss, Makeup Academy. We have some more Milani, some more ColourPop, and LA Girl, Catrice, Cosmetics. So we're just going to play around and have some fun today, okay? So the first thing, you have to do some type of skin prep. So you have to decide what type of primer you want, if you want to moisturize, and that's all based on the type of skin that you have. So once you understand your undertone, then the next thing is, do I have oily skin? Do I have dry skin? Do I have a combination? Also, you want to think about the type of coverage that you want. Do you want minimal coverage? Do you want medium? Do you want something that's buildable to full coverage? So for me, I don't have, I would say, skin issues that you can readily see at first glance, but I do have freckles on my cheeks. You can kind of see them. They're fine. I have some darkness in this area. I have freckles over here. I do have some moles that I've inherited as well. And then I have freckles along my hairline. So the ones that are here, I'm not sure if they are because of or attributed to my alopecia, because they weren't always here. They came once my hair started to grow back. So that may be something, or that may be why those are there. But these, I know that I inherited from my mom. So what I'm doing for the dark circles around my eyes, I am currently using the Dermaelect Revitalite Eyelid and Dark Circle Corrector, and it looks like this. It retails for about $40, but I received this in my BoxyCharm. So before I put on anything, I use this twice a day most times if I'm applying makeup. I put it on as a part of my makeup application, and then I also put it on at night to sleep through. So it has a little, it's not a, you squeeze it out, but it's actually a flat surface, so you can kind of mix it in on your face. And then I just rub it in and let it dry down. And then lately I have been using e.l.f. products for my skin prep. Now e.l.f. does have a lot of good products, and they are inexpensive. So I am going to use the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Water Gel as my moisturizer. And then I also have the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer. And I'm not going to put a lot of this on today because I do feel like my skin is giving a little bit of glow already. And I have combination skin. Sometimes it'll be desert dry. So it just depends. So I do have some matte foundations in my, matte primers in my collection, as well as dewy ones. So I'm going to apply the water gel moisturizer first. And I'm just going to put it on my hand. Maybe about 2 pumps. Rub it in. And just apply it where I want it to go. And I don't think you can overdo this particular moisturizer because it's water-based. So you're not going to have a build-up, or you shouldn't have a build-up from this. And then now we're going to go ahead and go into the Dew Primer. And I actually have, sorry, I'm chewing gum. My anxiety is running rapid today, so this is one of the mechanisms that I have set in place to help me deal with that. So I just put, and this is just a Real Techniques brush. It is brush number 107. I purchased it in a set with another brush from Walmart, and it was about $10 for the two. e.l.f. also has a primer brush. I have it somewhere. Let's see if this is it. Okay, this is the brush from e.l.f. And it also has the little beveled end so that you can scoop up your product. And I have one from Catrice too, I think. So I normally put my primers in the areas where I tend to sweat the most. So on my forehead, my cheeks, and my chin. And I'm going to rub it in because that's what I do for real. And then it normally dries up within a matter of seconds. Look at me putting this on here. I'm still sleepy, y'all. Okay, so once we've done that, I think I'm going to start with some foundations that are not my tone, to show you how it will look or how it looks on your face so that you know that that's not the one. Let me get some wipes. Okay. So there's some things at first glance you kind of know, that's not mine. But sometimes it's hard. So we're going to try some that in my opinion, are not my shade. So the first one is going to be the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Broad Spectrum Foundation. The shade name is NW30, and so the NW stands for neutral warm, and this is the shade. And so sometimes what I do in the store, if it's somewhere where they don't have anything for me to swatch, I immediately put it up to my skin tone. This one I know right off, this is not for me, but we're gonna swatch it. So I'm gonna grab I'll use this brush. And we're going to put a little bit down my face so that you can see how it looks. So number one, we know MAC is not it. The next one we are going to try is the True Skin Hydrating Foundation, Long Wear Foundation from Catrice. This one is in the shade 090 Cool Espresso. So this one looks like it may be a go. And sometimes you may have also a different shade for the summer and a different shade for the winter, because you do sometimes tan. So this is the Cool Espresso. So this is marketed for someone with a cool undertone. The next one that I'm going to use, this is e.l.f. Flawless Satin Foundation. I'm trying to get the one that's not my shade. This one is in the shade Cinnamon. And we're going to swatch that one next to okay. Let's see, I think I want to pull one more. I think I'll do a Morphe one. Let's do, these are the Morphe Fluidity Full Coverage Foundations. I have the shades 420 and 430. Well, 4.20 and 4.30. This is 4.20. I'm going to use the 4.20 and swatch. And again, if you put this up to me, it looks like it might work. So I would say in these last three, or at least the Although the Catrice is a cool tone, it looks kind of warm to me. So the last three kind of look like they're in the same tone family. But of course the shades are off. The only one that's kind of close is this Catrice. So I would use the Catrice as my winter shade because my skin lightens up a little bit, or brightens up, I guess I should say, a little bit in the winter time. Okay. So now I'm gonna wipe these off. Not too much because I don't want to wipe the product off underneath. Okay. Let's start with, I have a Morphe 2 Hint Skin Tint, and I have the shade Hint of Mocha. I also have a Catrice HD Liquid Coverage. It's a mattifying primer, and this one is in the shade Chestnut Beige. These look a bit red to me. So we're going to try the Catrice first. I don't know how I feel about foundations that come with a dropper. So that is the Catrice. And that is the Morphe. And I actually want to blend these in. To see how they're actually going to fare on my skin. And this would be minimal coverage application for me because you can still see some of my freckles underneath this. So although it looks red, it's actually not bad. It blends in pretty well with my skin, or with my chest and my neck. So those aren't bad. Okay. I was skeptical when I bought them though. Okay, I have two foundations, or two shades of the Too Faced Born This Way. Let's see, these are for medium to full coverage. I think I have Butter Pecan and Chai. And I'm looking to see, so oil-free, oil-controlling, waterproof, transparent, resistant is this 24-hour one. And neither of these are, say whether they're matte or dewy. So we're going to swatch the Butter Pecan first because it's the lighter of the two. And this is normally what I use in the winter. And then the Chai one. You can also mix foundations. So this is Butter Pecan. This is Chai. And you have to also consider how they're going to look when the foundations dry down and when they oxidize with your actual skin. So right now, this Butter Pecan looks like it's too light for me. The Chai is what's closest to my skin tone. So I'm going to mix in the Chai and let it oxidize so you all can see that. And then I'm going to mix in the butter pecan. Do I want another? I'll use another little sponge. I typically don't use sponges with my foundation. I like brushes, but again, that's your preference. So now you can see kind of a comparison between the two. So right now, the butter pecan is definitely off. The chai is what's closest to my skin tone. Okay. I'm not going to wipe that off. I'm going to do one wipe and then we'll start again. So now I'm going to use the Nars Sheer Glow foundations. I have the shades Macau and Marquise's. Darker one is Marquise's. I don't really like foundations like this, y'all. I like the ones with the top with the nozzle that you can press out. So this is Marquise's. You can't really see it, so that tells me already that that's a shade that I would get because it's gonna blend in good with my skin. And then this one is Macau. Now, when I did the actual shade match on Sephora's website, it gave me Macau. And this was during when the pandemic started and we couldn't actually go into stores. So this side is Macau, this side is Marquise's, and of course, similar to the Born This Way Too Faced concealers, this one seems a little bit off. So the Macau has been blended. And now so has the Marquise's. And what baffles me with this foundation is that you really can't tell which side is Macau and which side is Marquise's, right? So that's why I have them both. Okay, next we are going to move on to my Sephora Best Skin Ever. I have the shade 57Y. And I do feel like this one is, well, at first glance, it looks like it would be too dark for me. But once I apply it and it dries down, I love the finish. So I'm going to swatch this one on my neck because I'm running out of space, y'all. So this is the Sephora Best Skin Ever. What's another one that's dark on me, or that looks dark in the packaging? This is the J-Cat Skin Assurance Maximum Coverage Foundation. I do have the shade Royal Bun Bun. So we're going to swatch this one as well. And put it right along side of Sephora. See if I have another one that comes that looks kind of dark in the packaging. Let's do, this is Maybelline Dream Radiant Liquid. This is the shade 128 Mocha. Okay, so we have 3 foundations. We have Maybelline, we have J-Cat, and we have Sephora. I am going to use a brush to blend these in. And give them a moment to oxidize. And these are kind of all in the same family as far as tone. Let's let those dry down. I'm definitely going to need to purchase some makeup wipes today, because I didn't know how low I was on them. So just want to give you, sorry, not meaning to show my breast. Just want to show you how it looks in comparison to my skin. And then also when you're putting on complexion products like foundations, you have to remember that you're going to be applying different things on them to enhance them. So you're going to be putting on concealer, which most people use concealer to either conceal blemishes or to highlight underneath their eyes or certain places of their face. So with my concealer applications, I do put it underneath my eyes, the middle of my forehead, down the bridge of my nose. Sometimes I do my top lip area, and then my chin. It just depends, because sometimes I don't like the way the concealer looks in that area. I'm sorry, I am texting a client. So now everything is pretty much dried down. We can kind of see the differences. So over here you can't really tell where I have makeup at. So the products that we applied on this side are actually more of my skin tone and my skin type. So those were the Born This Way Too Faced concealers. On this side we have, wait, I've forgotten. No. On this side we have the Morphe and the Catrice. And then on this side we have Nars. On my forehead we have the Too Faced Born This Way concealers. And then on my chest I applied Sephora, J-Cat, and the Maybelline. So this foundation would be, if anything, a winter, depending on how bright I get, would be a winter, or I would mix it with the darker foundation. These foundations I can use either or, as well as the foundations that were placed here, which are the Catrice and the Morphe. The darker foundations, as you can see, they are not my exact skin tone, but when I apply my additional facial products or complexion products, it all blends right in. I do have a couple of videos on my channel right now where I have actually used the Sephora Best Skin Ever. So I'll link one of those below if you're interested. You can see how that looks overall. But this is how those products looked. Look, we're going to do some foundation sticks. We're going to do some powders as well. But let me clean everything off so that we can have a fresh canvas. Okay, I do have some foundation sticks. I did wipe, I think I wiped, now I'm red, wipe the products off that were applied before, and I did apply some more primer just to give every product a base coverage to start off with. So this one is a Nico foundation stick in the shade Chocolate. And I purchased this to contour with. So I purposely purchased it this color. And then this one is in the shade Almond. And Almond is close to my skin tone, but it looks a little bit ashy to me. I have some Juvia's. This is Juvia's foundation stick in the shade Addis Ababa. This one is the shade Jackmail. This one is Mozambique. And all of these are too light for me in my opinion. I had some of their squeezy tube foundations. Those were not my shade either. So I gave those away. These I actually keep in case I need to use them on any clients with lighter complexions. And so these are the shade sticks. This is how they look. I'm not really sure if I'm into using actual stick foundation for all over application because their texture is a little bit different for me. I forgot I have some more sticks. So I use the Sephora Make No Mistake shades as contour sticks as well. So that one is Mahogany. This one is Teak. I have 3 black opal ones. This is Warm Almond. Too light. This is Black Walnut. And this is a contour shade as well for me. And this one is Heavenly Honey. So Teak is closer, the Sephora Teak shade is closer to my skin tone if I'm trying to use it as a foundation. The Nico K Warm Almond is closer to my skin tone. None of these are not either. This one is definitely not. So those darker shades will definitely be used as contour shades on either on myself or clients. Okay, so now we are going to play around with some cream and powder foundations. I do have the She Glam Skinfluencer Full Coverage Foundation Balm from Shein. And I have the shade Mocha. And then I have the Milani Cream to Powder Foundation. This is in the shade 280 Spiced Almond. And it looks like that. I have a powder foundation from Ruby Kisses. And it is in the shade Caramel. I have 2 Maybelline Superstay Full Coverage Powder Foundations. Let's see, I have the shades. This is 355 Coconut. And this is 362 Truffle. And then I have the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation in the shade Tan 425N. And it looks like that. So I'm going to use the NYX Marshmallow primer today. Looking for a brush, but I can use this one. So I just put a little bit on the brush. And this has a tint to it like lotion, but it's very lightweight. And let's let's see. I want to do the Milani cream and the She Glam foundation balm together. And this is how the balm looks. And this is how the cream to powder looks. So I'm going to take a brush. I think I'm going to use like a flat top brush. And I think it goes on, most of the cream to powder products go on as a cream and then they dry down or set themselves down. So you really don't have to use a powder. And then this formula for the balm is a little bit different. But I'm just going to use the product that's left in this top. And you can actually see the difference in the Milani and the balm. So I'll let those dry down and kind of oxidize with my skin. And then we have 4 powders. So let's do the Ruby Kisses one first. If I can get it open. And I think that this is too light for me. It's in the shade Caramel. And I'm just going to take a Sonia Kashuk. This is actually a blush brush. And you can kind of see too where I've applied the product. And I think I'm only going to use one of the Maybelline's 355 Coconut, because that's the shade of foundation, a liquid foundation that I have. And then on my forehead, I'm going to put the e.l.f. And I'm going to use a flat top Sonia Kashuk foundation brush. So I'm just patting the brush. I should have tapped the excess product off. So usually when I do liquid or cream foundations, I set them with a powder. I usually don't wear powdered foundation on its own. So let's take a look at trying to get this foundation off my hand. And this Mocha foundation balm is actually close to my skin tone. And from the looks of it, the Milani is as well. So the Milani is a little bit lighter, in my opinion, but they both will blend in and go along with my skin tone. I think I put um, Ruby Kisses is the one that looks kind of ashy. Hopefully it shows on camera. And then the Maybelline Superstay is on the top. It's giving up a little bit of ashiness on its own as well, but not as much as this one. And then the e.l.f. powder foundation is what I have on my forehead. And to me, it's a little bit darker, a hint darker than my actual skin tone. Okay, so I am surprised at the performance of the cream foundations. Not really surprised at the powder foundations. I really don't wear powder, and I don't think I will anytime soon. We are going to take a look at some concealer. So I'm going to leave the products on that are currently on my face. And when I buy concealers, I normally buy 2 or more shades. So sometimes I will buy one that is closest to or exactly my skin tone in case I want to use it to conceal. And then I buy a lighter one to brighten underneath the eyes. So these are the Sephora Best Skin Ever concealers. I do have the shade 35N and 44Y. So with these, I use the 35N. First, or towards the inner part, and then I'll use the 44Y towards the outer. And they are very close in shades. I think the 44Y is just a little bit more golden. And so then I will let that dry down. And I have a setting brush, which is the Real Techniques 402 brush that I use. And then I also have a Morphe times Jaclyn Hill. It's a JH 17 brush. And it has an angle to it, so I use 1 or 2 of these brushes. And then on the left side, we're going to use caramel and chestnut. And sometimes I do my concealer or apply my concealer a little bit different. So I may put the lighter one underneath my complete eye, and then I'll put that darker shade underneath there so that when I start to blend, it'll be a smooth transition from one shade or from my foundation to my concealers. And I let them dry down a little bit. I normally use another shade, which is Cookie, down the bridge of my nose. So to contour, I use the Sephora Make No Mistake foundation stick. This is all off, but it's okay. And so I'll normally go down the bridge of my nose. Excuse me. And I take this Real Techniques contour brush, and I will slowly blend my contour in. And I allow that time to dry down as well. And so sometimes even if your shade choice is a little bit off, sometimes you can fix it. Because this side looks a little bit light, I am going to add some product. Packages. And then I will start to blend the concealer. And I like for it to dry a little bit, not too dry so that it won't be so hard to move it, but dry enough to the point that it doesn't smear. And then this one I start working my way from the bottom up to the top. Then I usually take a sponge for the bridge of my nose. I do have this liquid contour from She Glam. And I'm just patting it in place initially. And then I'm going to go back in this is a Real Techniques foundation brush as well. Doesn't have a number on it, so I'm just blending in the product that I use to contour with. I normally blend this one down and the one on my cheeks in an upward motion. And then I go back with my foundation brush and mix in my concealer. And my under eye is starting to crease. So I'm going to hurry up and grab some powder so that we can handle that. I'm going to use this ColourPop No Filter Setting Loose Powder in the shade Caramel. May not show. And so, you have to be able to just trust the process when you're trying to apply your makeup, because you're going to make some mistakes. But as you go, you're going to learn how to fix the mistakes. And sometimes if you never acknowledge that there is a mistake, no one else will even know. Oftentimes we are harder on ourselves than anyone else. So we're our worst critic. I'm going to go back. I'm going to let that sit for a little while. I'm going to go ahead and play around with my eyebrows. They have already been molded down with the NYX brow glue. Oh, this is what I don't like about these sticks. They are so easy to break. And the way that I usually apply my makeup is to do my eyes first. So I'm trying something totally new today. So how you do your eyebrows is based on you. If you like a dramatic brow or if you like a natural brow. So if I'm going for a dramatic brow, then I'll definitely bring this arch up a little bit more than my normal arch. But if I want a more natural look, I am basically just filling in my eyebrow hairs. So I'm just going to take a brush and kind of clean up around. You can do this with foundation or you can do this with concealer. So I'm going to take this little rounded brush right here. So I'm going to go back in with my foundation brush. And without putting any other product on the brush, I'm just making sure that there are no harsh lines. And I'm gonna use, because this is already right here by me, so first I'm gonna conceal my eyelids. Now sometimes I can do this perfectly with the spoolie that comes with the concealer, and sometimes I can't. It just depends. But again, this is something that you can definitely correct. I'm gonna put a little setting powder on there because my eyelids do crease. Okay, and then just go back and blend. Notice I really haven't added any more foundation or anything. So I have set my under eyes. Just pressing the product in because I don't want any more creasing than I already have. Okay, and then I'm gonna use this Juvia's Place bronzed in the shade dark, and it looks like that. And I normally mix the two shades, but today I'm gonna go in first with this bottom shade and then use the top shade to kind of blend into, for the transition to blend into my setting or highlighting underneath my eyes. And so because Juvia's is so pigmented, you can kind of tap some of that excess product off. And then I'm going to go back in with this lighter shade. And then, let's see. What did I do with my brush? And so what do I want to use for? I guess I'll mix them together to put underneath. And although I put two different concealers underneath there, two different brands and two different shades on each side, you really can't tell a difference. And what else? I'm going to use that Truffle 362 Truffle foundation that I have to set the remainder of the foundation on my face. I normally will put concealer on my forehead and my chin. apply down a little bit, and trying to see, we're gonna just do something neutral on the eyes. We can use this Warrior by Juvia's Place, just using what's close to me. So I'm gonna use mainly these browns. And just putting a little pop of color, not really trying to do anything in particular. And Juvia's Place is really pigmented, but if you really don't want the color to be as strong, you can go in with a fluffy brush, which I also use blending brushes, and just apply the color, and it helps me to move it around a little bit more. And then we can also use these shades in here to give us a little bit color. And then if we want to add a little bit of dimension to our eyes, we can definitely use this darker shade. And just make sure we're blending out the edges for that. So depending on how pigmented you want your colors to be, you can continue to go back and forth between the shades if you want. Where is my brush? So I'm going back into this bronzer palette. And then I am going to go ahead and start blending my concealer. And I normally just take my foundation brush and go around the concealer. I am watching a movie on Netflix. I've been watching a lot of stuff on Netflix. Today I'm watching, I think this one is called Good Sam. Yesterday I watched, what did I watch yesterday? Inheritance. And the day before that I watched, I can't remember, but I've watched Luckiest Girl Alive, How to Build a Sex Room. I guess some interesting stuff on there. Okay, I think I want to go in. I have a Juvia's blush right here as well. It's volume 1, and that's how it looks. So I'm going to go in with just a little bit, try to go in with just a little bit of that pink, I'm sorry, the orange color. And then I'll mix a little bit of the pink. You see, this is very pigmented. And then if you feel like that's too much, you can go back under your eyes with your setting brush, and then go back in with your brush that you use to do either foundation or contour. Where is, I keep losing stuff, y'all. And I feel like I've wiped off some of my lash. So I have what is this? Milani Intense Bronze Glow. It's supposed to be a bronzer. I'm sorry, looks like that. That's how it looks. So I'm going to use this as a highlighter. And I try to use smaller fluffy brushes to highlight with. Okay, where are my brushes? It is actually time for me to wash my brushes, but I have enough brushes that I shouldn't be looking for. So, okay, this is an example of the brushes that I use, and I'm just tapping and putting it on my cheeks and on my temple. And you can build this up. You don't want to go in too heavy. And I normally take my finger and put it on the tip of my nose and down the bridge of my nose. And so you may not like, I like my under eyes to be really, really bright. You may not like it as bright as me. And that's fine, because makeup is all about what you like. Let's see. I think I thought I had a terracotta looking lipstick shade. I think I do. Trying to just use what's here by me. So I'm really winging it today. Let's see. Nah. What about ooh, what's this one? Cinnamon toast. Have a setting spray. One second. Okay, so I do like the Milani Make It Last. So we're gonna let that dry down. personally like to let my setting sprays dry down naturally without using a fan. But if I'm in a rush, then I will use the fan. So I'm just going to, now if you have an issue with your under eye creasing like mine, you can definitely conceal your under eyes before applying any products, or before applying any complexion products, I guess I should say. And what did I do with my brush? I keep losing brushes. So we have done a couple of foundation swatches. We used some different concealers. We did a quick little get ready with me using only products that were here except for the setting spray. I had to get up and get that. So I think that overall, although this side of the makeup when I did the application was kind of off, right now it came out pretty good. You really can't tell that I used different products underneath my eyes. Excuse my nails. I'm going to get them done this weekend. But came out pretty good. I'm normally not a person that wears colored lipstick, but I kind of like it. I think I'm gonna put some lashes on. My daughter bought me a little device that you actually put down on your eyes to make sure that you're putting your lashes on low enough. So I want to use this, but I need to grab some lashes. 1 second. Okay, so I'm back. I did change my lipstick. The one that I was wearing before was almond. Wait, no, not right. I'm sorry. The one that I was wearing before is number 839, Cinnamon Toast. And this is by L'Oreal. And this is how it looks. And so I switched and put on Stay Curious by MAC. And it looks like that. And I didn't put on any gloss with it. So I did put my lashes on off camera. I did use this, but I need to master this because this was all over the place. I do have on a 3D faux mink eyelashes from Shop Miss A or AOA Studio. They are $1.55 each, and I have on the shade 1625, which is Terry. Terry is one of my favorite, not shade, I have on the style. Terry. Terry is one of my favorites. My other one is, I think it's Chrissy or Crystal. I did line my waterline with a black pencil. I did go back and put some eyeshadow underneath my lower lashes. I put mascara on my top and bottom lashes. I did put the Crayon Case Honor Roll in my inner corner. Not sure how I feel about the Milani highlight, which is marketed as a bronzer, on my cheeks because it really didn't show off for me like the Honor Roll highlighter does, but I'm doing something different, trying to use something new. Today I just used products that were already here, and I wanted to show you all the reality of what my vanity looks like when I do my makeup. So give me a second, I'll flip the camera around. So this is actually what my vanity looks like. This is a purchase that I made from Amazon, and this is what I use to just practice, because sometimes it's easier on yourself, but if you desire to do makeup or apply makeup for anybody else, then you need something or someone to practice on. So this is what I've been currently using. And so I just have products, brushes everywhere, lashes, everything is everywhere. But this actually concludes this video. Let me know in the comments down below if you liked the video, if you want me to go in more detail about something, if there was something you didn't like. Let me know that as well. Until next time, please remember to stay blessed and blushed.